So you know when someone suggests a thing and it's a solution to a problem that you may have gone to them with, and you don't know why you didn't think of it yourself, and it's as if you needed someone else to give you permission to even entertain the idea. I want to ask you to consider doing that for yourself today. I've got 5 practices that I think will help recalibrate you and bring a little bit more balance after this 12 months, which has just been crazy. You know, so often we can know a thing's a good idea, but we don't do it because we don't really think it matters because it's us. And yet I know that so many of us, so many of you have been coping beyond coping. You have been hanging in there day after day after day after day. And you know what? You've got good at doing it. You may feel you've messed up, but you've actually got good at it. The more you do a thing, the more you practice it, the more familiar it feels. And so coping feels familiar and becomes familiar. And so the idea then of maybe taking time off or starting to do some things that would just help a little bit with this coming out the other end, I don't need to do that because, and it's that I can cope thing that's kicking in. And so what you may want to do is to be back in the saddle, and kids have gone back to school and now we're going to get to it. But what you need desperately and what your body needs is just a period of, we're going to take the foot off the gas a little bit and just allow myself to come back to alignment a little bit. Yeah? 5 practices to recalibrate you then. If you are, first up, the boss of you and you get to control your day, can you give yourself some hours off per week for a month, say? Schedule them in the diary. Commit to that time to have to yourself. Do not default on it. Do not fill it with other things. This is time for you. And if you don't have that sort of control of your day and you have set hours, say, how about not overworking? How about sticking to the hours that you know are in your contract, are hours that you should be working without all the extra overtime or skipping through your lunch? So many of us are overworking, and the way that we allow others to treat us, they will treat us. So if you need to put some boundaries in place and say, no, I'm not. We have a well-being policy. No one's sticking to it. I'm going to stick to it. And for a month, I'm going to take my lunch, then do it. Second, your digital consumption. Can you cut down? Do you not need to know all the news all the time? You know, it's not enough that we've got the news now, we've got everyone's reactions to the news, and that on top of everyday life, it can feel really overwhelming. So if you don't need to be in the know, can you switch off early? Can you have a day off? Can you have some time off at the weekend? Thirdly, bedtimes, half an hour earlier to bed. Is it something you could do? It's so simple, but that extra rest over a month, really going to compound. Fourthly, a walk with a friend. Is that something you need to schedule in? You know, as an introverted person, it's not something that I naturally would incline towards. And yet the walks I have had with friends have been such a balm in my difficult days. It's so easy when we are struggling to we close off, don't we? We're so good at doing that. It just comes naturally to us because anything that goes like that sort of feels exposed and vulnerable and open we don't want. So we sort of withdraw, and that includes contact and communication often, but it's the exact thing that most of us need. And finally, allow yourself, when you have time, when you make time, to do something just because. You know, the Eat, Pray, Love film, La Dolce Far Niente, I think that the term is in Italian, and it's the art of doing nothing. We are so used to being on, and more than ever in lockdown, you know, multitasking like crazy. How about monotasking? One thing, and that one thing doesn't have to have a purpose, doesn't have to have a goal, doesn't have to have an aim. I'm just going to do it because.